Mhm.
But when a character becomes a meme, then that's a problem.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, this is his chance at finally joining a stream and hopefully not being a pain in the ass.
Hmm.
But if he starts to just troll, well, that'll be the end of the session. Because it's one thing to be a troll, it's another to have fun. And I don't mind when you guys give me shit. I just don't. I'm not kind of a character who's just gonna fuck around the entire time.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
Hmm.
Huh.
Um. Okay. There we go.
Just curious to see how the siege goes.
Mhm. Well, I have a plan for that for today.
You said we were doing a partial siege, like
Mhm.
partially doing it.
Yes.
Did you say we're not doing that today, or we are doing that today?
I plan to continue the story as is.
Okay.
But that is assuming everyone shows up. If they don't, then by 5 o'clock, then I'll just do what I normally do and I'll cancel the session and then we'll just continue it next session with the rest of the guys.
Yeah. But um, uh, yeah, I'm just curious to see how it goes and how the fortifications hold up.
Well, that's gonna be the interesting part. Oh man.
Oh, by the way, actually, never mind. No one was telling me during the campaign. Never mind.
Mhm.
I was gonna ask you how those what you call it?
I don't know. What do you
The
call it?
cat people. The cat, not the tabaxi. The ones that ate me.
Wow, that's a little forward of you, Tren.
Huh. What were they called? Rakshasa. Rakshasa. There we go.
What do you want to know about him?
Did they do the thing that I did they do the thing that I asked them to? I told you if they could infiltrate and sabotage that big cannon.
I remember.
Oh, did I say okay? Okay, I was just checking.
If the rest of the guys don't show up by in the time, I'll probably give you an overall summary of the siege itself within
Okay.
the first like 5 minutes before, like to give you the rough what you're looking at. That way, it'll be on YouTube, and if you need to say, "Oh, hey, I forgot what was going on and how the siege looked," can you tell me? I can just say, "Hey, just go to the video. It's there,
Hmm.
so you can listen to it again." Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Hmm.
mhm.
Hmm.
Oh, did you hear about the new YouTube Armageddon that's coming?
The Copa thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole lawsuit shit. Oh my god.
If it's child friendly, fine
Mhm.
$400, 4000, yeah, 400,
Mhm.
40,000. Some I don't know numbers. Lots of money.
400K.
400.
I think it was, yeah. It's a massive lawsuit.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I saw that. Um,
It'll be
I expect
ridiculous.
I expect one of two things to happen. I expect either they're going to be kind of lenient with it,
Mhm.
or slash not care at all,
Mhm.
or like people that are because there's going to be people that are inspecting the thing, making sure it is up to
Yeah.
code. Yeah. So I'm expecting them to either be completely lenient with it and not care at all,
Mhm.
or people to be like, nope, they're colorful images not allowed. colorful character.
Honestly, the easiest thing they could do, and this is my easiest solution, not knowing the whole thing, I've only heard the basics, is just in the YouTube video where you're uploading it, and you get all the options, it's just a little button that you click and say YouTube Kids or YouTube Adults.
Yeah.
Boom. They just had something like that, then the YouTube Kids stuff, they could put a full, like, okay, this stuff has to be approved by someone who, has watched the video and approves it for children.
That is what's going on. If you're making kid-friendly content, like if you're making content made for children, you have to put it on YouTube Kids, and you can't have it monetized. However, if let's say you're making it sort of like for everyone and not necessarily for kids, like how a Nintendo game kind of is. It's colorful and it's bright and stuff like that, and that's also actually considered, by the regulation, to be a part of that, and it should be on YouTube's Kids in their eyes, and they're going to probably find them, and that's why people are worried.
Oh, hey, there we go. Finally got my camera all set up.
But yeah, that's why. So
that's a fair point. I hadn't thought about that. Because I know, like,
YouTubers and stuff that are family friendly. What are they gonna do? Like, just like put a picture of like breast in the background at all times in order to make sure that it's adult and they can actually get monetized?
Yeah, you have a point there. I mean, I do agree that they shouldn't be doing monetization for YouTube videos for kids. I think that if they want, they should honestly make it so when the YouTubers do upload to the YouTube website, they should have it to where, like I said, just a little button that you click that then uploads it to YouTube Kids as well, so they can get one on the main website that does get monetized, and then the one on off main, so that way it will not be monetized and kids don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
So
that would kind of make sense, I guess. Yeah.
And that's fine, Rands. Because honestly, after this session, the character won't matter as much depending on what's going on. But yeah, no, I mean, I just think the whole thing's stupid. To be honest, I've been moving more and more over to Twitch. A lot of the stuff I watch on YouTube these days. What the hell?
I don't know.
Rands, you might want to mute yourself because we can hear someone's voice in the background.
So I watch a lot of YouTube, and honestly, I don't really like the company that much anymore, but I do like the channels and the content, and I don't really want to miss out on all of it, simply because I don't like the company. I don't like the company at all, but...
Well, YouTube's a hellish landscape no matter what. And plus now we're dealing with the fact that some of the big companies and the big channels are having issues. Like, I don't know if you heard about what just happened with Rooster Teeth's massive layoffs. So, yeah, 13% of their company was laid off. No objections, Rands, to that. No, not at all, man. You're fine as far as that goes.
You can have 1 million. I don't care.
Because honestly, you may not get to use all of them, so...
Only uses like 1%.
Yeah. Plus, we're still waiting on one more person, so if they don't show before 5 o'clock, I'm just going to cancel a session. You can always join us on the next session, Rands. It shouldn't be a problem. So, for the siege. But anyways, as I was saying, the whole YouTube thing, I think it's getting more ridiculous because we're seeing these big companies that are starting to move on anyways. Like Rooster Teeth isn't really big on YouTube. I mean, they're still well known and they have a good amount of channels, but they're not doing as much on YouTube these days. A lot of their stuff's on either their own website, or they do it through like their not partners, but companies that are under the same umbrella, like Crunchyroll and VRV, are both owned by the same company that owns Rooster Teeth now. So it's like, okay, there's no real reason for them to work with YouTube as much because of the fact that the company who they work under, which I think technically the parent company of theirs is umbrellaed under Warner, I think is what it was. Because I think Warner owns them as a side piece, basically. They own the company that owns Rooster Teeth. I just lost my D4. That is gonna fucking hurt if I step on it or sit on it. Where did it go? Ow! I just got shocked by my headphones too. There it is. Okay.
D4 caltrop.
Pretty much, man. These things are fucking as dangerous as Legos. In fact, I'd say it's worse because it can spike your foot. Ow, ow, ow. Stop shocking me. Fucking Christ. What the hell? This is the beginning of the uprising. Rance is gonna just come by and drop off a bunch of D4s in front of my house. Also, for those who are watching this on YouTube later or who watch us in the VODs, the reason my camera's moved and the reason I'm shorter now is I got a new chair. This is what I call my mobster chair. So I got rid of the old computer chair that had no support, and
Let me
now
see that.
Huh?
Let me see that. Right. I'm looking. I'm looking right now. Give me a
Uh,
second.
so I'll move the camera down a little bit if I can. I can't see it. But yeah, so the mobster chair looks a little different. You can't really see it in the video because of the fact of how I have this whole thing kind of set up. Sorry, I'm moving the camera. But now it's in front of me. Technically, it's off to my right a little bit because the cord. But
No, I
yeah,
cannot see your mobster chair.
you can't. But the way I'm seeing it, it's like the old party chair or old chairs you used to see in mobster movies, the big leather ones that the
Yeah,
Godfather would sit in.
yeah.
Or some young wannabe punk or under the mob boss would sit in with his arms back, his shoulders pushed back, trying to look all big and tough. So I
Yeah.
have one of these chairs. I love this thing. It is so soft, and I can finally have armrests so I can relax, and my back is feeling so much better. So, also good news is the gym's open during winter break, so I'm gonna be getting back into weight training once this term's over. Let me see. Godfather porn. Oh, this sounds like a good. I'm gonna
No,
offer him.
no, no. Wait, actually, wait.
You can tell.
Brando.
Yeah, there you go.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
Brando. What the fuck's bro? Oh.
It reminds us of JoJo, so that's
Oh, okay.
why.
But yeah. Otherwise, I mean, but no, as far as the whole YouTube thing, I think YouTube's falling apart. I think Twitch is starting to really take over. And that's why I'm kind of starting to go more towards Twitch. I only like YouTube for like a lot of the streamers I follow put a lot of their VODs up there. And so them and then like a lot of the do it yourself kind of or DIY projects I watch on there. Like the hut builders and shit like that. Oh fuck. Faraz showed up. Damn it.
Yeah.
What?
I was thinking I wouldn't have to do a session tonight. Damn it.
Well,
Yeah. What was that, Faraz?
I was breathing in through my teeth, but anyways,
Also, for those people back home, if you didn't know, Faraz is buff as shit and apparently is like a mini dreamboat.
He's like super swole.
Yeah, holy shit. Honestly, Faraz, I'm curious.
Using RPG Maker.
What? What'd you say, Rans?
Rans,
What'd you say, man?
speak. Okay, moving on since he's not talking.
Yeah, Rans, you can tell us what you said. Currently on hotspot. Oh, well, Faraz, if you're on hotspot, we don't want you wasting your minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool if we don't have the session tonight. We can do it next weekend when everyone's here. I mean, Wolf's dealing with a lot of stuff right now. Robert's being a bitch and eating, so I really don't want my. Yeah, man, no, Fraz, you can. Okay, here. Yeah, I mean it. Yeah, it's no worries, man. That way you don't have to skyrocket your phone bill. Cause I mean I've been there. That fucking sucks. All I'm gonna pretty much do is talk to Trent about what's going on in the siege, so he has a better understanding of everything, and then that'll probably be the session. So it may only take like 10 minutes. So I was gonna do a little side adventure, but if you have to use your hotspot, don't even bother, man. We can do it next weekend. So.
Sweet.
And Rans, you're welcome to stick around, but
if you don't wanna, then you.
If you don't want, if you don't want to listen to it, you don't have to, man. Cause it'll be a quick stream tonight then. Well, I probably will stream Dragon Age or something like that here in a bit. I'm not downloading For Honor. I am not waiting 4 hours to download that fucking game.
Twitch and YouTube, tell him to download For Honor.
Dude, I will not lie. For Honor was my best game on Twitch. It had like 16 viewers by the end of the night when me and Wolf played it one night, all the way through midnight.
See, Frost says stream For Honor.
Francis' opinion doesn't matter to me. I appreciate you, Rands. You're a nice kid, but sorry, your opinion doesn't matter to me. And there's no D4. What about? No, it doesn't. Good try though, man. But
This
no.
task failed successfully.
I mean, honestly, I think the whole thing with Twitch, it's just YouTube's just falling out of interest. I think YouTube's good for like cuz I like to watch it for like DIY projects when I get my own house. Um I'm looking at a few places right now, although right now I think the cheapest out here in Portland is like 400,000 some change, which is considered good price in down in
It's
Metro
it's just
Portland.
that some content pretty much has to be on YouTube because
Yeah,
there are some things that I watch that pretty much wouldn't work on stream. Because like I watch like history videos sometimes
same.
and stuff like that, and I'm just and that would be weird on Twitch or something.
I mean, you could do it if you recorded it and then just had it running the entire time, like a 24-hour kind of stream, but it'd be.
Weird.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. YouTube's a good place to store VODs. I think that's the best thing about YouTube. I just don't want them. And for me, like this whole monetization bullshit, I really don't give a damn because I don't monetize my videos on YouTube. That's all for them to deal. There's no money in it.
Right.
Because I'm not brand or good brand value here.
Yeah.
Because I
Uh,
swear too much.
Honestly, I'm kind of okay with YouTube kind of, going down because I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of tech monopolies. So,
Well, it's not a tech monopoly technically because there are competing companies with it. They're just not nearly as
not
big.
nearly as well, they're not
Like,
nearly as good. It's kind of like how, Windows is a thing.
mhm,
Like there's some things that you got Apple and you got
uh,
Chrome, but
send
they're
me a link. Ryan, send me a link. Yeah, and okay, so let me give you a good idea, Trent. Twitch controls like 75% of the live streaming market now. Now, we
yeah.
used to have a couple of people who went against them, but Twitch just blew up. And Mixer's trying, but Mixer's never going to succeed. And
Mm-mm.
it's okay to
Yeah.
have a sort of, I mean, it is a it's not a monopoly because technically to be a monopoly you have to be the only one in the industry, right?
Yeah, but
So
it still
technically
sucks
it's,
because they can't really compete with them
oh yeah,
because
because
they
it's
can't.
hard. I mean, now the whole tech burst or tech explosion, um you had to get in on the ground floor. If you didn't get on the ground floor, then that was your own problem. Real quick, Rands, are you talking about, I have the website.
Yeah,
Oh,
I know what he's talking about. But yeah, no, I don't know. It's kind of why I just don't like. I use them, but I don't like while I'm on it. I'm always kind of just thinking in my head, and I'm like, uh, like,
mhm.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm just like I don't like you, but I need you.
I'm gonna switch myself to just chatting so that way no one gets upset.
Oh yeah, that's probably a better idea.
Because we are just right now. I mean, even if we do the D&D stuff,
Yeah, it's still just chatting.
pretty much, yeah. Okay, wait. Let me. Rands
But yeah,
upload something
no.
for me. Give me a minute, Rands. I'll check it out. I'm just updating something. Is it raining? Okay. We're like hitting 30 degrees right now, so if it starts to rain, we're gonna have problems. Alright, let me edit this scene real quick. Why are you. Oh, okay, so it isn't just chatting, it's just not updating the picture. Okay.
No, it's in just chatting. It's in just
Okay.
chatting for me. But
I
yeah,
just want to make sure categorically I'm not gonna get in trouble. Yeah, Rands, that's fine. I don't mind if you use that type of stuff. No Rands, please, and no spamming me with messages. That's what got you in trouble last time.
yes.
Um,
Um.
but yeah,
So
no.
yeah,
As far as the whole YouTube thing, I mean, give it time. There will be companies that will start to rise up as YouTube keeps making these massive mistakes. They're gonna keep weakening themselves. I mean, once Twitch introduces its own like form of YouTube, then boom. I mean, we already see that
Twitch could do that. Twitch could totally do that.
and they would probably destroy the market on that. They'd probably end up splitting it with YouTube 50-50 for a good while. Yeah, no
Yeah.
worries, man. Go ahead. We're just gonna sit and chat. So,
Honestly, I would probably immediately. I don't know. I would probably honestly immediately move on over to that because Google owns YouTube, and I'm just like, nah, nah,
I
no
don't mind
thanks.
Google. I would love to work for them. Google, if you want to give me a job or offer me an internship, I will move down there, please. I'm begging you. I need an internship. Or Nike, I put in 5 internship applications today. Would you can you hire me? But
Uh,
anyways, but yeah, no, as far as it goes, I mean, we'll see what happens on the overall monopoly. I just doing the finances of YouTube, they can't afford to take this hit. It's going to hurt them really badly, so we'll see what goes on from here.
yeah.
But yeah, let's do your D&D session, or at least the update of what's going on in the siege. So because you weren't here when we had the session,
No, I was
so
not.
you kind of need to be filled on what's going on.
I think. Wait, do I have arms and legs now, or not yet?
You will by the time we come back to the main session.
Okay.
One of
Okay.
the clerics will have taken care of you. That was one of
Okay.
the advantages of having the 5 different churches is you've got clerics.
Right. You regrew them for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
remember. I forgot.
So they're gonna be numb as shit, but it's yeah, that's to be expected. You're regrowing a limb. It's not exactly gonna be perfectly come back to you immediately because your body has to readjust to it. So you will have penalties to all dex saves, but that's pretty much it.
That's fine. I don't need
You're
good
not a
dex.
dex character, so
Yeah, it
um.
doesn't matter.
So overall, the current numbers is the current things going on with the city. We'll start with the raw numbers. Is your city is surrounded by around 600,000 troops, right?
Okay.
So
Let me pick up my notepad. But yeah, 600,000 troops.
yes, around 300,000 are professional soldiers. These are people who, for a living, do this. These are the vanguard, typically the well-trained knights, soldiers of fortune, people who are paid by the nobles specifically to do this. About the other 300,000 are roughly trained peasants. In equivalent to your own soldiers, you have around 100,000 troops in your castle because you have no backup coming from
100.
1,000.
100,000. Okay.
You have no backup currently coming from Eldrin, Eldrin, Bright Flame. That's I think the fucking. I have his
No,
name written down.
Eladrin
Foka's
or
old
whatever.
character.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
Eladrin. That's it. Um,
Something. I don't know. I don't know.
No, that was right. Ladrin Dim Flame, I think was what it was. Anyway, so you have no backup coming from him. He has another 50,000 troops under him, mostly mixing between of snow elves and the few snow dwarves he has had resurrected and put under his charge. Otherwise, yes. So you have no backup. The 2 towns that you run, which I can't remember the name of off the top of my head, but it doesn't matter. Neither of them know what's going on, but complete communication has been cut. Your supply line is cut.
Hmm.
You have enough current resources as far as food goes and water with your current citizenry level to last you about 60 days under siege.
Okay.
Given that you did kind of take the city and there wasn't much time to store up food or farm the lands because you've only had
Right.
it for a few months, or for the 2
Right.
years, you've been kind of having to, work with a massive increase of population. So there,
And I've been having to pretty much. So I'm pretty much just establishing rations right now. Like everything for everyone is rationed. Got it.
yeah, this is on basic rationing. So you have about 60 days worth of food at the very basic meal of 2 meals a day with water involved.
Okay.
So this is very simple meals. These aren't I'm not talking steaks and eggs,
Yeah.
And I
You're
assumed,
talking about like porridges and
yep.
grains, stuff like that. Yeah.
And I assuming with your character, since you're pretty much the one mostly in charge, and I know Zilpip's view on this, but I assume, assuming with Aaron being the one in charge of the military, would mostly likely decide to, instead of trying to treat herself or the rest of the main people with like heavier meals and such, she would actually try to focus on keeping it even to keep the citizenry happy
Um,
and keeping them from revolting within.
And yes, and I don't, and mainly simply just to extend the supplies. I do not want anybody to get more rations than they
Mhm.
need.
So, all right. So you do have that. So about 60 days worth of rations.
Okay.
The current battle is going on now. The way you have your soldiers set up is you've got about 20,000 on each sector of wall. The city
20,
of Core is split up amongst 5 sectors.
20,000
Hmm
each sector of wall.
Yeah. So total 100,000. intermixed between mercenaries, professional soldiers, and then common peasantry. You have around 30,000 people inside the city that are normal citizens that have been deemed not capable of fighting, which means they are either over the age of what would be equivalent to 80 or equivalent to 60 in human years. So meaning they've only got roughly about 20 years left in their lifespan, so they are pretty much deemed useless, or they are under the age of 12, equivalent to human.
Okay. Sounds good.
So those people, the 30,000, are currently hidden in the main keep, which is the inner wall where the college, the library, and the main castle is. Okay?
Uh-huh. I have one thing that
Yes.
I just thought of this.
Mhm.
So remember how you talked about how if I sent out a messenger through like pigeon or something
Yeah.
like that, it would get intercepted?
Most likely, yes.
Okay. So what I want to do is basically lay a trap. I want this thing to like I don't want it to seem like I want it intercepted, but I want it intercepted.
Oh, okay. So you're spreading false information, right?
Yes, and
Okay.
I want to lay a trap somehow. Not really sure, but I
Well,
want to trap.
you have the week to think about what you want to do on that factor, and you can message me at any time, and I will give you the if it gets caught or not. But looking at the current army in front of you, because of course you while you are in this tent, you do have clerics in here and many and other magic casters. Since you're actually currently in the main keep, inside the main inner walls, because of the fact that's where the medical tents have been set up for people just to
Right.
get them moved.
Mhm.
And that's where most of your mages are currently. They're trying to basically casting spells to reinforce the inner walls in case of the outer walls being hit. That was the overall decision made by your or the person who took the position of second command, which is Greg the Bloodthirsty, being the most renowned mercenary in the in your under your paycheck right now.
Greg the Bloodthirsty.
Yeah, this is Greg from who used to run the Crimson Talon.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
and his bloodthirsty dwarves,
oh,
along with Zaris, Robert the Boar, and then someone else that catches your attention, but you don't recall why.
I see. Okay.
So yes, he has taken second command in the position with his bloodthirsty dwarves because he has the most experience with war, and given the situation that you were according to many of your officers found unconscious, and that took a hit to morale. Greg took full control because he didn't want the city to get destroyed because he didn't want to die, and his mage is dead. His mage died unfortunately, other than Robert the Boar, but Robert the Boar is not a teleporting mage. So, he's taken command. And while he has set a few of the wizards, or most of the wizards in the college, he's taken a few of the senior wizards. So there is now one wizard or one magic caster per each sector of wall that is of either level 15 or higher. Serving there basically to act to help out with fodder and keep the enemy out of the gates.
Yeah.
And so while that's happening, you've also gained a wizard that has been scrying the entire time to show you the battlefield, so you get a general idea. He has his own pigeons flying around that he's using to scry from, um, to as a combo spell, basically to see what's going on around the battlefield.
Okay.
So this is how you're getting all this information while you're in the tent in extreme pain, growing back your limbs.
Yeah.
From what you can see, there are 6 different portals set up to where it looks like these are fully shielded somehow. You can see some sort of magical light coming off of, from around them, and it seems that more and more troops are coming through these things. So these are a definite high priority target. This is how they're getting reinforcements and getting a supply line so far away from their main territory.
Right.
Because the closest castle from them is good 20 miles at least. So it's not exactly close, and it takes a while to feed an army of 600,000. So they found a way to get around that.
Of course.
The other things that catch your eye as priority targets is there's 3 massive weapons of note. I mean, they've got typical scorpions and catapults, but most of that stuff is at best has a 20% accuracy as you're watching, and doesn't seem to do anything amongst the tungsten walls. The rocks seem to hit and break, and the scorpion bolts. I mean, they're good against the men on the walls, but it's hard to aim that high, and they have to get kind of close to actually use these things. Given how tall your walls are, you can think the fact that this is a very old castle and has been built on for centuries. So, given all that factor, you can see that the three weapons, two of them on the south wall and the western wall, one is or two of them are both massive cannons. These things are roughly about the same size as the walls themselves, and they seem to be shooting out giant balls of iron, which isn't, although it's not hurting the walls, it is starting to put slight dents in it slowly. Um, and they've gotten about 5 shots off on this thing, but it takes a couple hours to reload this, so you get the idea that
Such a massive, yeah.
they have to shrink it back down, load it, and then expand it back up. So they only have so many shots with it as long as they're mages. The only problem is most high elves are capable of doing magic.
Right.
The last thing is an interesting weapon that has not been fired yet, and it looks to be some sort of giant, what you can only say looks like a telescope with a big purple crystal behind it.
I understand what this does.
Well, you might be surprised. You haven't seen what it's done. It hasn't been activated. It's just been glowing for the last few hours.
I can tell what this does. I assume what this does.
You have a good idea that this thing's going to be really bad news.
Yes, I do.
As it has an elite guard around it in full magic plated uniforms.
Okay.
So, as far as your troops, you do have a mixture of Rakshasa within your troops, mostly because of the fact that they've only signed on under the accordance that they are allowed to stay in the city and be left alone in peace. From what you gather, there's 60 of them. These all, and they have kind of formed their own little unit that have kind of come out. They haven't given their appearance, but they have made the fact that they do now have marks on their or on their armors to signify who they are, so they know to each other based on that. But they are still taking the appearance of, most look like half elves or half dwarves, typically. A few of them have taken on the appearance of snow elves, but you've realized that just from one of the markings, they have a gold swirl on their armor. Most people are just taking this as they're part of a unit you've put together. So no, not other than you, Zilpip, and your little group of the Grim Legacy. Other than you guys, no one else knows that these are Rakshasa in disguise.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Otherwise, Greg has kind of deployed everyone. Zilpip and John, Greg has sent a message to let you know that he is headed with them down to the southern wall where the fighting has been the worst. That seems to be where a good group of those few nobles who were leading the vanguard are stationed, and they've been attacking relentlessly, not stopping and continuing to hit the walls. Luckily, due to Zilpip's spell, he made sure that the gates themselves were a lot stronger and reinforced with iron. So he didn't have enough time to put up the tungsten wall design because of the fact that he didn't have any magic to open it back up. But he was able to, or the the doors were reinforced with iron, so they're gonna take a while to get through, even with the current magic that they have, due to the fact that you've got enough archers on the wall there being able to keep the mages back, since most mages don't
Okay.
wear heavy armor.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And then the other thing is that Nimian and Kilxius both headed to the western wall, where the other portion of the fighting seems to be hitting hard. That is where one of the cannons is, of course, and that is also where that purple crystal device is. So, yeah. That's the general overall setup. It seems the northern and eastern section or sections of the walls aren't as bad. It seems that the nobles in charge up there are taking a lot simpler of a time and relaxing and just letting kind of seems to be of the understanding that they don't want to attack immediately, as they are still digging up trenches and setting up the line.
Okay. I see. Understood. Okay.
So yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
So as Greg is my second, I'd actually like to ask him a few questions.
Well, he's on the walls right now fighting battles. He's like
Oh.
holding these people back, doing everything he can to while giving orders to the overall of the wall. So he's not taking a backward position on this.
Okay.
However, you do have messengers you can send, and you do have a wizard who can cast message with you, so you can talk to him. It's just he may not be as quick to respond due to that.
Alright. Okay. Well, do I have commanders with me by chance? Very well studied ones? Any
Of the city?
in next to like near me, well studied commanders, people that I trust, people that I know are
Most of your personal commanders and what would be considered your personal vanguard from the Fighters Guild are currently leading the holding the walls. Each one you have about 6 of them, and each of them is holding a section of the walls, trying to do what they can. While one is still in charge of the center main keep, kind of giving orders and explaining what to do for the citizenry and getting them underground to basically be protected. So
right. Okay.
yeah, that's the
Okay.
current situation.
So I'm thinking for the trap.
Mhm.
Not maybe not really a trap. I just want to misguide them. I'm
Mhm.
thinking I will send for a letter for reinforcements
Mhm.
from the towns. I want them to think that we're going to be doing a push on the south gate,
Okay.
and I want to be sent, and then I want to begin push. Which direction are the portals in?
There's one on each section of the wall, or each area of the walls.
Okay, understood. I want to misguide them into thinking we're going to push in the southern gate. And I'd like to begin pushing towards where the. How much do I know how much longer it would take for that weird weapon to recharge?
It's not even been fired.
Hmm. Okay.
It's been just glowing for the last few hours.
Okay. Um.
You do still see the old man, by the way, who was talking to you earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and had given you the advice, still sitting within the gates. He's been sitting on the stairs heading up to the castle itself, just as if you're curious.
Okay.
But he looks like you'd get if you had to put him in dwarven years, you'd probably say he's in his senior years and doesn't have much longer. Even if he looks like he's got some fight in him.
Mm. Okay. Well, how probable would be a push if I misguided them?
Depends on where you're trying to push.
The walls closer towards the cannon and the glowy thing.
Well, that would be in the western walls, where
Mm-hmm.
fighting is still pretty fierce as well. Again, you're dealing with There's been no spotting of the emperor, but those nobles who seem to be younger and more ambitious seem to be heading or in the or on the southern and western territory sections of the walls.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
But what would be a more problem? However, would be my chances if I started a push on the western section?
currently, you'd have a 50-50 chance. The problem getting to that crystal weapon is going to be the biggest issue, just due to the fact that you have what's it called? I guess I should go into just chatting from now on whenever we're doing D&D because I've just gotten 5 viewers now. Oh my god. Thank you for those who are watching. If you enjoy the stream, I keep forgetting my camera's in front of me. If you enjoy the stream, feel free to follow. We do have D&D sessions Saturday and Sundays. Saturdays at 4:30 to 8 o'clock. Normally we'd have a session, but due to the fact that not all the players were able to show, we decided to cancel. We're just doing a light session tonight, and then we will have a session tomorrow on Sunday at 2:30 p.m. PST. This is all in Pacific Standard Time, and that usually goes from 4 to 5, depending on what's going on. So feel free to tune in tomorrow as well if you enjoy this type of stuff. We will be in the D&D section for those wondering. But as far as it goes, it'll be 50-50. Getting to that crystal machine is going to be the biggest difficulty, just because you're dealing with um, these royal guards. These guys look like they're highly trained. So getting past them is going to be your biggest difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
Each
Okay.
one of them, from the looks of them, probably could take you on almost single-handedly.
Each one of them could probably take me on single-handedly.
Yeah, and there's around 40 of them. So
Understood. How would my vanguards fare against them?
well, that's the problem. You don't really have a vanguard. Most of your vanguard is split up amongst the walls, trying to basically act as the senior officers, trying to keep those who aren't trained military um, in in their positions, not running, basically.
Right.
So that's your biggest issue at this point. You are kind of spread thin. So
Okay. Trying to think. Yeah, I think my best shot would be to, misguide them and attempt that push. But
Mhm.
I'm not so sure on that. It could end very terribly.
Well, the thing is, you don't know anything about these nobles. You've never got the chance to do any research on these people and who was in command. You also haven't seen the emperor as of yet. He has not made his presence known overall. So
Maybe he's just not here then. It's probably better to assume that he's not
Mm.
here then.
all that John was able to find out was the fact that he was a very aggressive man, and that's why he was elected, because he was the most dangerous of all the other High Elven lords. There is one banner you do recognize, though, only because one of the sons is working in the academy. You recognize the House Brightmoor with one of as one of the troops that is leading in the Western Walls.
I see. Okay. I'd. So this man's. What do I know of this man?
Of the Brightmoors?
Yeah, of the Brightmoors and the person that is in the academy.
The person in the academy is did end up going on a was sent out on a quest by X himself or 10X himself. So and he helped basically uncover the truth of what happened to the first hero and his whole band of troops, or his whole band of adventurers from the Church of Adventurers.
Okay.
He's a well-respected professor at the Academy of Zopip. Well, actually, it's technically just called Zilpip, as the engraving on the. Yep. And he's a well-respected man of a smaller house. He was the heir, however, due to the fact that he was decided to go on an adventure and leave. One of his siblings took the position, and they've been elevated to a higher role overall in the position, or in the military. They seem to be leading a good amount of troops, and this person seems to be one leading the entirety of the Western Wall
Okay.
siege, or portion of the siege against you. Um, so you have from what you understand, you probably have this person's this enemy lord's brother working inside.
This is just a quick little question. I'm honestly kind of slightly curious. How many people could I take on my own?
As far as soldiers go,
Yeah.
typical soldiers, you personally probably could put a good hole in them. Of taking on, maybe you get what, 3 attacks per round,
2 attacks per round.
2 attacks.
But I also get a attack of opportunity at anybody that gets close to me.
So theoretically,
Starts running away.
you could hold the gates against most of the common soldiers. As a if you have to go against a lord, you're looking at someone probably about the same strength as you, or ability as you, would probably be the proper term. And they're going to be a bit more veteran as far as experience goes, so they may be around roughly the same level as you in ability, but in experience with warfare, they're going to be a lot smarter in how they act and deal with you. So weigh that as you might.
Yeah.
Common soldiers would be a piece of cake for you, but that's because you're an experienced warrior. You've gone and been on quests. You've fought things that most people wouldn't. But when you're dealing with people who've trained for war all their life and have been at war most of their lives, you're dealing with someone who is now either your equal or better, and you can't tell 100% if they are what they are.
Well, we can always take land back, but we can't buy time back.
And you don't have to make all your decisions tonight. This was me just
Yeah.
filling you in on everything.
I know. I'm just thinking we can always take the land back, but we can't buy the time back.
And overall, the rules of warfare, from what you know of the elves, I mean, you're pretty well studied for warfare as far as that goes in general, because that was your main focus during the entire 2-year break. Um, so in your experience from reading up on high elves, they typically will, during sieges and during wars like this, it's there's a set kind of truce timer of sorts that after a huge push, a kind of mutual break is taken, so that way dead can be collected, no issues are pushed, and nothing is done. From what you've gathered, the troops will probably attack till sundown, unless there's going to be a surprise attack. Most of the camps will or most of the enemy army will probably make camp at that point and just keep a watch. So
Mm.
at this point, from what you can tell, this lot is more testing your defenses for the nobles in the south and the west who are really pushing against you, while those in the north and eastern sections are more of willing to just starve you out and are being more patient with the situation.
Mm. Okay.
However, and the last thing I will mention, as you are able to see the banners of many of the noble houses around, a good half of the High Elven nobility seems to be here. At least their banners are represented, and a lot of the ones you do recognize almost immediately from your studies. A lot of them have a good couple of them have claims on this territory personally, amongst them just from their family's heritage.
Mm. Okay. Let me think here. Hmm. Do I know when they're going to push at all?
You're gonna guess for the northern or eastern sector, it's probably the next morning because it is getting late into the evening. The sun will be down within an hour, and so most likely the attack will stop as soon as sun goes down, and camp will be made, and a sort of watch will be set up. Most of these thought fight like Romans. They'd rather siege you out and build like walls and towers around the city and hold it and wait for you to just starve.
Oh.
If the emperor is sticking to traditional high elven views of war.
Right, but he's been known to be more aggressive.
Yes, from what you know about him, he is the type that has no problem cutting down his own men if they get in his way. He is a very angry and violent sort and has no natural connection to
Since
anybody.
I have know your enemy, could I get a rough estimate of like how skilled these fighters are? Like their levels in fighter, if any,
The nobles?
average hit, the nobles, the hit points, things of that nature, the con, their strength, things like that. Since
Alright.
I do have know your enemy, so.
Yeah, so most of the nobles, from what you can see, of course, the common soldiers, most of them, I'm just gonna give you a level general. Most of them are levels 1 and 2, just to give you an
Yeah,
idea.
I had an idea.
For those in the higher ranking nobility, typically are ranging roughly between 10 to 13, depending on their house, from what you can
Okay.
tell. So
Okay.
most of them have a strength roughly between 18 to 20, and then have a very high intelligence. You don't get an exact reading just because the numbers are all over the place, as it seems that many of the houses differ. So you're not getting exact readings. Some focus more on intelligence, some focus more on wisdom. Very few focus on constitution or charisma, and very few seem to focus on dex. So these
What
guys
about
are
con?
Con is not one of their big things, but they do. You do know that high elves have a lot of natural immunities. So,
Right.
and these types, you do realize that high elves typically have a high con because, or you imagine they'd have a high con since the fact that they do kind of eat people to absorb their magic. They don't have a natural magic flow like all the other races do. They have to consume others' mana.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, as far as it goes, so that means that every dead man that falls over those walls, or if they breach that city, is just feeding their army.
Mm.
So you've got to really be careful with your troops.
Okay. Um. Do I have any white phosphorus bombs?
I do not believe so. But
Does-
Zilpip does, and he is heading to the southern wall.
Okay. Um. Can he produce white phosphorus bombs in here?
No. Well, he might be able to. I'd have to look at the ingredients. Theoretically, he might be able to, but the problem is he's magic. Since he has no magic, he's going to be practically useless as far as trying to stabilize them.
Right. can I have wizards and such help him from the
Yeah.
academy?
Theoretically,
Okay.
yes.
Then if you could like message him if he could do that or something.
Well, he's heading to the southern wall with John and Greg, as well as Greg's bloodthirsty dwarves, even though they're not all dwarves.
Right.
And he's going to fight. So you're doing all of this while the group is heading towards the walls, and it takes almost a day's worth of walking to get to the walls from the inner
Okay.
from the inner thing. So this is going to take you a while to get wherever you're going.
Okay. Um.
And before you ask anything about Zelm, Zelpip kind of fucked you on that one. He basically tried to kill everyone in Zelm's bar, in the
And
King's
Zelm
Crown,
wasn't
and
happy about that.
Zelm kicked you all out.
So, um, is there any form of escape at all for any of the?
No, there are no tunnels out of this place. This place was built to basically hold a siege. It was designed to be strong. You're also dealing with the fact that this is a castle built by a man or a high elf at the time who believed in never surrendering.
I see. How good are my flute skills?
I'm not answering that question.
No. I'd like to know.
Your flute skills?
Yes.
You're not a musician. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give you a minute to think. While I do a quick thing. I gotta go feed my dogs.
Okay.
For those watching the stream, so I'm gonna run a quick ad break. While I go take care of some stuff downstairs, and then we'll continue on. For those who are watching, I will be doing a Dragon Age Inquisition stream tonight, so feel free to stick around for that. I'll be jumping on that here probably after me and Trent are done talking. So, yep.
Bye.
All right, Trent. I'll be right back. Ow! Electricity.
Okay. Bye. He's still not here. Any of you guys want to chat or anything? I'm all for it. Since I'm just waiting for him. So, unless you guys just would rather lurk, then go ahead. They're all bots. Hmm.
I've returned.
DM, how's my new armor coming along?
You don't know. You haven't seen Ogrim. Oh, are you talking about the stuff I made you? This last
Yeah,
Sentinel armor?
Yeah.
The stuff I keep forgetting to make because I've been. I'll make it Friday when I'm off school because since I get off on Thursday, or I get Thursday off and I'm not doing Thanksgiving, I'll probably do it after I finish up my homework assignment. So I'll be ready before next session.
Okay. I'd appreciate that, because that actually, what did we? Do I remember what the last Sentinel armor was better than for mine? I can't remember.
Wait, what? Say again?
Like, what was the benefit of the last Sentinel armor compared to mine? Like, what was the increase? I forget.
You'll find out. I'll send it to you when I'm
Okay.
done. I have
Okay.
to look through some vlog or some VODs and remember what I was making. So
Yeah. Okay. Um.
so any other
Hmm.
questions you have before next session?
Any other questions do I have before next session?
I asked you first.
Yes, you did. Um. Is there a choke point within the city? Is there a major choke point within the city that I could probably get most, if not all, of the gates to sort of funnel into?
Most of the city, or most of the sectors of the city, which you have the south, the west, the east, the north, and the northwest, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it was. I'll have to look again. Each of the sectors have a main street that is big enough to fit 6 men standing abreast to each other, or shoulder to shoulder with each other, and hold. The rest of the rest of the streets are smaller. Typically, 1 to 2 men can fit through them, and they're side streets typically. The
Right.
main street goes all the each of the main streets go all the way up to the center keep, and then the center keep has a nice road ring around it where it has basically its main market area, and that is then in the center where the main gate going into the keep itself is focused or is on the same route as the southern sector.
Yeah.
So the southern main road through the city goes straight into the main keep.
Yeah.
So no, there really isn't too much of a choke
single
point. Yeah.
defined choke point that I
Yep.
could. Yeah.
Because the city was designed to be very uniform and very sectored out.
Right.
Remember, this city is thousands of years old. City was built in a warring age. So this, which was the second age, or technically the third age of the world
Right.
by defined history.
How much? Okay. And you said there was 6,000 of their troops, 3,000 were professional, the rest is not. And there. What is the least, protected wall? Like, what is like not protected? I mean, like, what is the least amount of troops on a wall? Like, not for mine, theirs.
It seems to be almost complete even distribution.
Okay.
They've got the full city surrounded,
Okay.
which is impressive given the size of this place.
Hmm.
Because from what you found in the books that were in the library that from the ancient red dragon that used to live here, this city is the second largest city in the world, castle in the world.
Okay.
Well, now the third technically, if you count Tautler's personal palace.
Right. So there's something that I do know. Um, it's something that I know Napoleon did. He split up his forces, and he had his personal force larger, and he just went from one spot to the next spot to the next spot to crush them.
Yeah, Native Americans
Mhm.
did it during the War of 1812. It was to make it look like they were a larger army than they actually were.
Hmm.
So what your idea is to focus one wall and try and push out, and then go to the next wall and keep doing it.
Would that work?
Theoretically, the way I'm going to set this up is I'm going to create an Excel sheet with a rough
Mhm.
number, even of a rough split. It won't be perfectly split for either side because that's impossible to get with men. No one's going to be counting. Is there 20,000? All right, line up for 20. Let me count out 20,000 to go this way. That's one of the issues here. Um, but I'll do a rough estimate and then I'll have dice rolls. So due to the fact that the other army is more professional and is stronger or better off overall, they are going to have a higher odds. So depending on what I will roll a D100, and depending on which number it lands on, will depend who wins that battle. Not the whole siege itself. Like the
Right.
one
Yeah,
side
I
won't be
know.
wiped out. I
What
will
would be the
allow.
chances if I implemented that strategy, though?
Well, you're looking at you'd be outnumbered, outgunned, and you'd be fighting horrendous odds.
So, not very good if I did
No,
that.
not unless all 5 of your personal party went out there and fought with them. Then you might have better odds in that case. To give you an idea, on a 10-sided dice, I'm going to be putting the odds of the enemy winning is about 60%.
Mm.
So only because of the fact that they are split up and they do seem to have they don't have their full siege weapons all the way around. They are dealing, and you do have stronger walls. It's going to take a lot more for them to win a battle on the walls, because remember, your walls are fucking tall.
Yeah.
So they
But
don't have the ladders.
the cannon and the laser worries me.
Yes. And they do have rams that are going up hitting your gate, but they're not doing a damn thing because these are just giant trees right now that they're
Right.
smashing into the gate, and your gates are giant iron, basically curtain walls. So these things are very hard to break down. They're very defensible. So, given that, you're pretty much set. Oh,
Yeah. So, what'd you say? It kind of cut out for a second.
or the fact that you had to go talk to someone.
Well, right, but it
Yeah.
kinda cut
So
out for a second.
they do have rams, but they're just basically giant trees. There's nothing really
Mhm.
special against them, and
Yeah.
but the iron gates are pretty much holding. They're not gonna break. These things are solid iron walls, almost.
Yeah.
These are dwarven craft iron walls, so these are not going to be smashed easily.
Yeah. Hmm. Is AA run scary at all?
To these people,
No. Yeah, to these people.
your notoriety isn't very famous. Zilpip's actually probably the one of the biggest deterrents on why they're not just charging the walls and taking everything immediately. Because he's the only one with a well-known nickname and a well-known name overall. So,
Right.
no, Aaron's not known enough to gain notoriety. Um, However, the fact is that your weapon is very well known, as it is a masterpiece designed by Ogrim himself, and your armor is very going to be very well known. So that the title of the last Sentinel will be something that will strike fear in the enemy.
Right.
But Aaron
Um,
has not proven herself at all overall in battle. So
right. Okay. I will return shortly.
okay,
Shortly.
all right. Uh-oh, Fuka's doing something. Yeah, man.
I have returned.
Welcome back.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Fuka
Hmm.
says hi.
Oh, hi, Fuka.
But yeah, so overall, it doesn't look. It looks grim. The nice thing is the fact that you've got big walls, you've got strong walls, you've got strong gates, and there's nothing that the enemy can do right now to breach your walls. You can pretty much just sit there at your leisure. Currently.
Current. Yeah, you say that. Yet there's this giant laser thing.
Which you don't know what it does. It could be something that just enhances magic, honestly. It could be something like a death ray. It could be something that sucks the souls out of people. Who knows? You've never seen something like this before. You don't even recognize the purple gemstones themselves.
Mm.
You've never seen a stone that big made of purple crystal.
Okay.
And the cannons ain't doing shit right now. They've hit the walls, and yeah, they've cracked a little bit on the walls, but it's not actually pushing in or breaking the walls. I mean, it's tungsten versus an iron ball. It's gonna take a lot to,
How
knock
many more
anything.
balls till?
Yeah, you're
How
looking.
many more?
Oh, how many? If you had to give a rough estimate, you're looking at probably at least another 5 days worth of being shot by those things before they'll even make a dent. Your walls are tough and tall. I mean, like I said, you're pretty much safe. They are building ladders, but you know how we've seen how effective ladders are in warfare.
Pile of oil, push the ladder.
Yep.
Either works.
Yeah, we've all seen Helm's Deep. We know how well those things work. So yeah, you're not too worried at this point, and don't need to be.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, so it's gonna be a
Yeah.
game of odds. While you're giving out orders, or while you're fighting, the troops will do what they're supposed to do. They will push and they will hold. If depending on the decision you decide to make, I am gonna actually ask for a decision tonight, given all the information you have. Since most likely on the next session you're gonna head to the southern wall with John and Zilpip, by the sounds of it. Because you wanted to be next. You said that you wanted to be next to Zilpip since he's not exactly as strong now. And he's more of a glass cannon than he was before.
Yeah.
So, given that information, what is the overall order you're going to give your soldiers to do? Do you want them to attack? Do you want them to hold? Or what's the overall idea at this point?
I want them to hold,
Mhm.
and I want them to try and sort of tire out the enemy.
Okay.
It's probably not going to happen, but I can lead. Like, I don't want unnecessary risk taken.
Okay. So that's the overall order you're gonna dish out. All right, that'll be what
Pretty
goes out. And so that means that the troops are gonna have a higher defensive rating. That means that they will not do any pushes, which means they won't have to worry about that sort of odd against them. They will only defend the walls. Basically, they will hold them till the last man, just to hold these walls no matter what.
Right.
Okay, then I'll make sure to get that all lined up
And
for
also,
next
I
session.
want that. I do want that misdirection thing used.
Yes.
I do want to do that. Okay.
We can go into that during the week. You can message me what your idea is as far as what you want to do with that. That way you have
Okay.
some time to think, and that can be handled by next session. And I'll go into the
Okay.
odds of what happens.
Okay.
All right, man. I'm gonna jump over
Yeah.
onto Dragon Age Inquisition here in a sec, so I'm gonna stop the stream for a minute, and then I'll jump into that, and I'll be in stream voice chat.
Okay.
So, all right. See you in a bit.
See you.
Thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time in like 5 minutes when I switch over.